Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to watch me rank all 8 Mission Impossible movies from worst to best, starting right now. Last place for me is going to be Mission Impossible 2. I think this is everyone else's least favorite Mission Impossible movie. That's only because it really doesn't feel like a Mission Impossible movie. It feels completely different from all the other ones. And I used to hate this one on my first watch. I thought it was horrible. Now, after rewatching it a couple more times, it still isn't good, but I feel like it's just a funny movie to watch with some popcorn just to laugh at because it is a very laughable movie. I mean, there are some good scenes like the rock climbing scene in the beginning. I like the female lead of this movie. I think she has good chemistry with Tom Cruise, but it just doesn't feel like it takes place in the same universe as the others. In seventh place is going to be the first Mission Impossible directed by Brian De Palma. And I gotta say, I feel like Brian De Palma has some great direction here. I loved what he did with this movie, and he started the franchise off. So, of course, he's not in last place. And from here on out, I really enjoy these. Like, the first one, I think is really, really good. It does have a little bit of trouble in, like, the middle of the movie. I got a little bit bored. I like the train stuff. At the end, I thought that was really fun, even though it does have a lot of green screen stuff. The first like 30 minutes of this are like top notch though. I love the first 30 minutes of this, and just Tom Cruise is really good in this movie, surprisingly, in his early age. In sixth place is going to be Mission Impossible 3, directed by J.J. Abrams. I don't know how we even got this far after the second one was that bad, but we bounced back. I mean, J.J. Abrams bounced back this franchise into a darker tone, and I really enjoyed this one. This one had Philip Seymour Hoffman, rest in peace to him. He is maybe the best villain that this franchise has had. He was terrific. It sucks that he got killed off in this movie, but I did love when Tom Cruise had that Philip Seymour Hoffman mask on. That was really fun. But this one does get a little bit of points taken off because it does feel like a TV show at times. Like it looks kind of cheap in some parts, but I really like the darker tone that J.J. Abrams went for here. And I loved that, it was indeed a Mission Impossible movie that felt like stakes were really high. Now in fifth place is going to be Ghost Protocol, and I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, this is directed by the same Brad Bird that did the Incredibles movies, and yes, it is, and this one has one of my favorite teams that's been in a Mission Impossible movie. You have Benji, of course, joining in the field, then you have actually Jeremy Renner joining the movies for the first time, and he was actually supposed to take over after this movie. Supposedly, Ethan Hunt was supposed to die at the end of this movie, but Tom Cruise said, no, 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 don't kill me, and I applaud Tom Cruise for doing that. I don't know where this series would be at without Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt. Jeremy Renner, I love him, but I just don't feel like he's good enough to really hold this franchise on his own. He's a great supporting character here. And this one is, it has a lot of great moments to it. I think the story and the villain is kind of weak, but the prison sequence, great moment. I loved, the escape on that one and Benji kind of opening all the doors. The Burj Khalifa sequence, oh my lord, that is probably one of the biggest stunts in this franchise. Him running on the side of the building, then he has to jump into the window and he almost falls out of the window. Crazy stuff right there. And the third act is, it's decent, but it's probably my least third act in a Mission Impossible movie. I just don't remember a lot from it. But the first two acts of Ghost Protocol are really strong, and I really enjoyed what Brad Bird went for here. Now at fourth place, I have Dead Reckoning, and let me just tell you, from 4 to 1 are movies that I love. They're like 9 or 10 out of 10s. I get so much rewatch value out of all these 4, especially this one, Dead Reckoning. I love this from the first watch in theaters. I saw it 5 times in theaters. I think every single sequence flows so well. It's almost 3 hours, but I really love how it's paced here. The entity stuff really worked for me personally compared to a lot of other people. The Gabriel stuff didn't work as much, but I can kind of look past that since, it's kind of a goofy franchise to begin with. But this movie has so many all-star scenes. Just think of it as the beginning scene, the Sevastopol, that's a great sequence. And then, they waited 30, 40 minutes until the opening title cards. That's the longest they've ever waited in one of these movies. The airport sequence, hilarious how Tom Cruise has to run from all these other people and then he has to go get Grace. Hayley Atwell, a great addition to this franchise. Ilsa, I'm sad about her death, but Rebecca Ferguson, she has to leave the franchise, so I do respect that. The train sequence, stunning, amazing. It's all done practical. I love how they did it practical compared to the first one where it's all green screen. The cliff jump is good, but I don't like it that much anymore since they did spoil basically the whole jump in the marketing. But yeah, this one really, is so great to me. I know a lot of people don't like this one in the Final Reckoning, but I get a lot of rewatch value out of this one, and that's why it is this high. At number three, I have Rogue Nation. This is when Christopher McQuarrie took over this franchise and he really leveled it up. I mean, his movies to me are my favorite in the franchise. Rogue Nation is pretty high for me. You know, it surprised me that I put it higher than Dead Reckoning, and I only did that because Dead Reckoning is kind of a part one, and Rogue Nation I think is a more fun movie. It has a lot of funny sequences, and also this is the one where Rebecca Ferguson got brought into the team, and she is so great here. I mean, this one also is ranked high because I love seeing Ethan Hunt kind of on the run. He's rogue, like in the title. So he's running from all these people, just like kind of in Dead Reckoning. I like seeing him just run away. But that opera sequence, it might be one of the best directed sequences in this franchise. Christopher McQuarrie did such a great job with every character being in a different spot. Ethan's fighting someone. Ilsa, has to do something. And then Benji's also fighting a big guy. So much is happening. I think that sequence is just so fun to watch every single time with the music, of course, in the background. Then you have the underwater stuff, which is pretty cool, but now after seeing Final Reckoning, it doesn't compare. But I did love the car chase sequence after Ethan Hunt kind of gets revived after, passing out from the water stuff. And then he tries to jump over the car and he falls down. Then he gets in the car with Benji. They have this epic car chase. They end up, driving the car over these steps and just bounce, bounce, bounce. And then, Tom Cruise, he passes out again. And then he gets up. He has to go on the motorcycle chase. And it is insane seeing the whole 40-minute sequence. I was like, I'm in love. I'm in heaven. This is so cool to watch. Third act fight. It isn't, that amazing, but I think the rest of this movie makes up for it. It is such a fun ride. At number two, though, is going to be The Final Reckoning. And I know a lot of people might disagree with this, but I love this movie each and every time I've seen it. I've seen it 6 times in the theater so far. I think it just gets better and better for me. I might go see it a couple more times before I leave theaters, but I'm definitely going to buy the physical steelbook whenever it comes out. It's now become a kind of a comfort movie for me, even though it does make me very emotional. I don't really know why a lot of people called the first hour this boring. I was so entertained throughout the first hour. I think it might rub people the wrong way because it is kind of in a different format. Christopher McQuarrie kind of shifted the story just a little bit, but I was entertained. And people complain about the flashbacks, but it's the end of the culmination of 30 years, so I expected a lot of flashbacks, and I liked what I got. The flashbacks also made me so emotional, but this movie is also number two because it has two of the biggest stunts that I've seen in movie history, maybe two of the biggest stunts in this whole franchise, and that's the Sevastopol sequence. Oh my goodness. Every time I see that sequence in IMAX, it is terrific. If you remember, Tom Cruise twists the handle when he leaves a submarine. In IMAX, every time he twists the handle, the screen gets bigger and bigger. So cool. And then when he leaves the submarine, goes up to the surface, I felt like I was just in movie heaven. Such a fantastic sequence. And then the biplane sequence. Oh, the biplane sequence, man. I even got the shirt on. Oh, there it is over there. Shirt on with the biplane. It is just such an insane, part of the movie. How Tom Cruise is literally actually doing that, jumping from one plane to another, going upside down, getting flung around by Gabriel. And I liked how Gabriel was actually kind of a cartoonish villain. Like he actually, went into that way because he is a pretty cartoony guy, and I liked him that way. But the stunts here are crazy. I loved how Palm Clemente has a bigger role here. And it just kind of felt like a better movie to me than Dead Reckoning. I feel like Dead Reckoning, was really good, had some great cinematography, but I feel like this one looked better. And I don't know why, because I think it's the same cinematographer, but I just love the look of this movie. Tremel Tillman was kind of MVP for me. Man, that third act just it revived my movies, man. My new favorite movie of the year, one of my favorite movies of all time now. Cannot wait to own this on physical media. The one monologue at the end of the sequence made me tear up just a little bit, but it is just such a profound movie, and I'm happy that I did love it as much as I did. My number one, though, has to be Mission Impossible Fallout. There's no getting better than this movie, even though I loved Rogue Nation, Final Reckoning, Dead Reckoning. Fallout is in a league of its own. It is a perfect action movie, in my opinion. Kind of like how I felt with John Wick 4. Both of those usually fight for my favorite action movie of all time. Final Reckoning is one of my favorite movies of all time, maybe top 20. This is in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. It is a perfect movie. First act, second act, third act. I had some issues with some of the third acts of the other movies, but this movie keeps you entertained. The story is really tense. really, you know, engaging, the villains engaging, of course, coming over from Rogue Nation into this one. Henry Cavill plays a great, yeah, you know, I'd say secondary villain here. The stunts are really cool, not as great as Final Reckoning stunts in my opinion, but still, what he's doing here is insane. The helicopter stuff, really entertaining. Ilsa in this one is also really good. Vanessa Kirby, she is great in this movie. Very stunning, I would say. But yeah, this whole movie, man, I could rewatch this over and over. Put me in a room and say, what movie would you watch for like 2 days straight? I'd pick Mission Impossible Fallout. I find more things that I notice each time. I don't think I'd get bored while watching it. If someone told me they were bored while watching Mission Impossible Fallout, I would probably just block them or never talk to that person again. That's how much this movie means to me. And this was actually the first Mission Impossible movie that I saw in theaters. I didn't see any of the others in theaters until Fallout. I saw that. I was like, holy crap, I need to buy this movie. And then I saw, you know, all the other ones in theaters, Dead Reckoning, Final Reckoning. But this was the first one I saw in theaters. It kind of changed my life. I was like, oh, this is what action is. I need more of this action in my life. Yeah. But if you haven't seen Fallout, God, get on it. What are you doing? This is a perfect action movie for me. So Mission Impossible Fallout is my favorite Mission Impossible movie of all time. This franchise means so much to me. One that I grew up watching, you know, at home, then in the theaters. Ethan Hunt, one of my favorite characters. I think this is my favorite action franchise of all time. I'd say that pretty confidently. It's the most consistent outside of 2, but as I said, 2's getting a little bit better each time for me. But yeah, that's my ranking of all the Mission Impossible movies. Leave your own ranking down below. I'd love to see some different opinions. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.